Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I'll start in 5 minutes," and suddenly it's midnight and nothing got done? If that sounds like you, don't worry, you're not alone. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit, it's a fascinating psychological puzzle. And today, we'll uncover the science of why we delay, and most importantly, how to stop. Welcome to the channel. We dive into psychology and brain science to help you live smarter and better. Today, we re-talking about procrastinations, something nearly 95% of college students and millions of working adults in the US and Europe struggle with. So let's get real. What exactly is procrastination? You know when you have something to do tomorrow? Right now you're rewatching TV or scrolling through social media, or maybe daydreaming about what you will do on your summer vacation. You know you should be working, but you can't seem to get started. You keep putting it off, hoping that motivation will strike you at the right moment. But by the time it hits, you might have wasted hours or even days. Well, psychologists define procrastination as the voluntary delay of an intended action despite expecting negative consequences. Let's break that down. You know what you need to do? You know it'll hurt a bit, but you choose to do something else now, hoping to avoid the pain later. Easy, right? Not exactly. You see, inside your brain, there's a constant battle between two centers. On one side, the prefrontal cortex, the rational planner, which helps you make decisions, set goals, and consider future consequences. On the other side, the amygdala, your threat detector, which keeps you out of danger by making you feel emotions like fear, stress, and anxiety. So when you think about that project due tomorrow, your prefrontal cortex speaks up. Hey, you need to work on that assignment. But your amygdala jumps in too, saying, it's so complicated. I'm not motivated. This is going to take forever, and before you know it, your amygdala has hijacked the control panel. You find yourself binging your favorite series while secretly hoping inspiration will strike you at the last minute. And that's the thing about procrastination. It's less about time and more about feelings. Your amygdala doesn't understand deadlines or long-term goals. It only knows the here and now. So it pushes you to do whatever feels best right now, even if it means facing a bigger mess tomorrow. But why does it do this? Well, imagine being at a party and someone spills a drink on you. Your amygdala would naturally freak out, triggering fight, flight, or freeze responses, so you could escape the awkward situation. These responses prepare your body to act quickly, pumping adrenaline into your bloodstream and sending the message, "Get out of here." Our ancestors who relied on these fight, flight, freeze responses to survive, so it's hardwired into us. The problem is that these responses were designed for immediate threats, not abstract future worries like a looming deadline. Over time, your brain creates a loop. Discomfort gives avoidance, gives temporary relief. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by a big project. Your amygdala goes into overdrive. To escape the stress, you find yourself scrolling through social media, getting lost in videos or chatting with friends. In those moments, you feel a sense of relief, even enjoyment. But then the guilt sets in. You realize you've wasted time and haven't made any progress. This guilt triggers more stress, leading to more avoidance. Before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of procrastination. Now, procrastination isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in small ways. So maybe you keep checking email every few minutes, although you told yourself you'd check it only once an hour. Or perhaps you find yourself constantly refining minor details, like tweaking the color of your presentation slides, instead of focusing on the actual content. Even though you know you should prioritize the content, the amygdala convinces you that focusing on minor details is less threatening, so it nudges you towards it. So how widespread is this issue? Well, researchers estimate that approximately 80 to 95% of college students procrastinate, and it's not exclusive to them. Studies indicate that over 20% of working adults in the US and Europe also struggle with procrastination. And here's where things get interesting. Studies show that procrastination isn't linked to intelligence or ability. In fact, some of the brightest minds grapple with procrastination. It's not a sign of low self-esteem either. Ironically, people who procrastinate often have high standards, setting themselves up for potential failure. They might tell themselves, "I'll start soon," but they actually have trouble getting started because they fear making mistakes. Procrastination can significantly impact our lives. In the short term, it might feel like a way to escape stress, but long term, it drains productivity, fuels stress, and lowers self-esteem. Chronic procrastination is even linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. It's like stealing happiness from your future self. For instance, imagine you're studying for an important exam. You know you should be hitting the books, but instead you're watching videos. Later, when you look back, you might wonder, why did I wait till the last minute? Now you're cramming, feeling stressed and sleep-deprived, when you could have eased into studying a week ago. This pattern repeats itself, affecting work, relationships, and personal life. The question is, how do we change this? How do we overcome this deeply ingrained habit? While it might sound impossible, psychology gives us powerful tools to fight back. First, embrace the 2-minute rule. If it takes under 2 minutes to do, get it done now. Checking off small tasks provides momentum and trains your brain to overcome the initial resistance. Next, pace yourself with the Pomodoro Technique. Work in focused 25-minute sprints followed by 5-minute breaks. This technique breaks down tasks and lets you pace yourself. Next, shrink your tasks. Instead of saying clean the house, break it down to wash the dishes. Smaller tasks feel less daunting and trick your brain into taking action. Fourth, change your environment. Minimize distractions. Put your phone in another room, turn off notifications, and use website blockers if needed. A clutter-free space helps a clutter-free mind. Finally, reward your progress. Celebrate the steps you take, no matter how small. Your brain craves dopamine rewards, so use them to motivate yourself. Each small win fuels your progress and chips away at procrastination one step at a time. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Remember, you're not a failure if you procrastinate. You're a human being with an ancient survival mechanism hardwired into your brain. The key is understanding this mechanism and using psychology to your advantage. So go ahead, embrace the power of small wins, break down tasks, reward your progress, and reshape your relationship with procrastination.